Welcome back to the Cossy Arsenal channel. My name is Cossy. Welcome back to a brand new video. Arsenal trying to create an attacking dragon this summer. So let me ask you a simple question. Which of these attacking front three would actually do the best damage at Arsenal next season? Number one is Eze, Gyokerez, and Saka. Eze obviously from Crystal Palace, Gyokerez from CP, and Saka at Arsenal. Number two, Rodrigo, Gyokerez, and Saka. Rodrigo from Madrid, Gyokerez from CP, and Saka at Arsenal. Number three is Madueke, Gyokerez, and Saka. Madueke is from Chelsea. He's signed as a new Arsenal player. Gyokerez is very close, and Saka is already an Arsenal player. And then number four, Martinelli, Gyokerez, and Saka. Which of those front attacking lines would do the most damage to the opponents in the Premier League and Europe come next season? There are four options, right? Option one, Eze, Gyokerez, and Saka as the attacking three. Or Rodrigo, Gyokerez, and Saka. Or Madueke, Gyokerez, and Saka. Or Martinelli, Gyokerez, and Saka. Now, Andre Pata and Mikel Arteta have realized something, and we as fans realized that something so many months ago, actually so many years ago. I think Arsenal fans have been asking for a left winger for about 3 or 4 years, and we've been asking for a centre forward for about 4 years, and the club has been non-responding. But now, Andre Pata and Mikel Arteta have realized the fans are right. We need a striker, and we also need to bolster our attacking options. Now, this is what Arsenal are trying to do. One, they're trying to increase goals by adding clinical players. And that is why Madueke, Gyokerez, and Saka, Martinelli, Gyokerez, and Saka, for me, isn't sufficient enough when it comes to goals, right? Now, I love Madueke and I love Martinelli, and they're very good players, probably in a certain context. If I took them to Crystal Palace or if I took them to Brentford, they would be absolutely brilliant players. But when you look at Arsenal's problems and you're looking to solve goals, what you're looking at, you want players that are always in the right places. They can read the game. They can find themselves in the right places to score goals. And that is why Eze, Gyokerez, and Saka, and Rodrigo, Gyokerez, and Saka, those are the two attacks when it comes to increasing goals that would be most effective. Let me explain. When it comes to Eberechi Eze, he's one of those players that literally come from a little bit far. At Crystal Palace, he's given this freedom to roam around and do whatever he wants. But he's got the ability to score for you 10 goals and something like 15 or 16 assists a season. He's 27 in his prime. He knows the Premier League, and he's a very attack-minded midfielder. So when you think about players like Eden Hazard, you think about players like Sami Nasri, you think about players like Cesc Fabregas, they always impact games in terms of scoring goals. They always impact games in terms of trying to score goals, right? And they will always be in the right place at the right moment, and they're very, very, very clinical, something that Arsenal do not have. So if you added Eze to this Arsenal team, you would improve our clinical nature by like 10%. You add Gyokerez, that is like by 40%, and Saka around Gyokerez and Eze, he's gonna get more chances, he's gonna get better chances, and he's gonna have more assists, obviously, because he's having clinical players to actually play with. Now, my pick in terms of increasing the goals would be Rodrigo, Gyokerez, and Saka. Rodrigo is like a maniac. Rodrigo is like a cheat code. If Arsenal really want to add this huge number of goals, let's say if we wanted to add 20 goals or 30 goals to the goals we scored last season, I think Rodrigo gives you 10. I think Gyokerez gives you like 20. Like you just add 30 before Saka can increase his number of goals, Rice, and Odegaard. So Arsenal want to add goals, and for me, the right approach would be go with Rodrigo, Gyokerez, and Saka. And if you can't afford that, maybe Gyokerez is expensive, maybe Rodrigo is expensive, and the deal is complicated, then we've got to go with Eze, Gyokerez, and Saka. That allows you to automatically upgrade the number of goals we are scoring. And then there is something Arsenal are also trying to work on in terms of our attack, and that is speed, right? That is speed. Now, there are two types of speed Arsenal need, and they are both crucial. Number one, will be solved by Martin Zubimendi, and that is the ability to move the ball quickly, high up the pitch, and also turn flat-footed situations into mobile, transitions. So that can be solved by Martin Zubimendi. He's got that ability to move the ball high up the pitch, very quick, as compared to Partey, as compared to Declan Rice, and as compared to someone like Mikel Merino, right? But that is not the speed we're talking about right about now. We're talking about speed across the front line. So when you think about Liverpool, they have Salah on that forward line, they've got Darwin Núñez on the front line, and they've got Luis Diaz. When you think about Manchester City, they've got Savinho, they've got Haaland, and they've got Doku. When you think about Chelsea, they've got Jamie Gittens, they've got João Pedro, and now they've got Liam Delap and Nicholas Jackson. Extremely fast players. The teams that actually gave us big problems last season were PSG. And what do PSG have? They've got very quick players. Dembele, obviously. Desire Doué, obviously very quick. As well as the likes of Bacola and the likes of Kavicha Kvaratskhelia. Newcastle in Anthony Gordon, Alexander Isak, and Jacob Murphy. Again, these are very quick players that will catch you off guard. But the problem with Arsenal is that we don't have that profile. We've got Gabriel Martinelli, and that's it. Saka literally receives the ball a lot in flat-footed situations. So there is only one player that is going to chase after the ball if it was played into space. Now, Arsenal saying, can we change that, right? And if you don't believe me, look at the players we are trying to sign. What is the ability and what is the strength of Gyokerez and Chesko? They love to run. They love to run onto the ball. They love to run, after the ball. That is their strength. Look at the wingers we are linked with. Again, it will show you. Eze, quick, very, very quick player. Anthony Gordon, very quick player. Nico Williams, very quick player. Rodrigo, very quick player, and Ademola Lookman. So what Arteta has realized and what he's trying to improve at the team is if you added a player like Rodrigo, if you added a player like Gyokerez, you're going to instantly increase the speed of the team like by 10% or 20%. And Arsenal are not a slow team. Declan Rice can move, Skelly can move, Odegaard can move. These are very hard-working players that can shift their bodies from deeper areas high up the pitch. But what we need is we need to take advantage of those vulnerable situations where the centre-backs are isolated. The centre-backs of your opponent are isolated, and you can create a 3v2. And Arsenal can easily create a 3v2 if you had Rodrigo, Gyokerez and Saka, or if you had, surprisingly, Martinelli, Gyokerez and Saka, or Madueke, Gyokerez and Saka. Madueke is a very quick player, with and without the ball. Saka is quick as well, especially without the ball, and with the ball, of course. And Gyokerez is also very quick. So Arsenal is saying, can we add another dimension to this attack? Can we find another way of attacking apart from just having the ball and just passing it around? So for me, the best ideal front three in terms of adding goals and then speed, right? You have the speed right there, but you also have got the goals. Again, it would be Rodrigo, Gyokerez, and Saka. I love Rodrigo. He's a very quick player. And actually, what I love about him is he's got the ability to beat a man 1v1. So imagine it is a 3v3. Arsenal attacking with 3 players, and we are having to face 3 defenders. Rodrigo's got the ability to remove 1 player and take him out of the game, and then all of a sudden, it is a numerical advantage, and Arsenal are 3v2. So Rodrigo, Gyokerez, and Saka would increase our speed. And if Arsenal dared to play with speed, Gyokerez would be another devastating player, because that is the type of goal he loves to score. Hit it in the channels, I'm going to run into the channels. He whacks the channels, he runs into the channels. If Arsenal can give him that kind of service, we shall benefit more than you can even imagine. And then creativity. That is one thing we've got to add. And that changes the conversation, because in terms of creativity, if you want players that are going to create chances, then Eze is one player to think about. Now, I'm not surprised that Arsenal have been looking at Eze, Noni, not really Noni Madueke, but Morgan Gibbs-White and Morgan Rogers, and Xavi Simons and Ada Goulet and a couple of other players. Arsenal really want to add some bit of creativity now that we have got a number 9. Now, which front three would actually create a lot of chances while scoring goals and also using a lot of speed? Now, Eze is a very creative player. Gyokerez is speedy, and Saka is very creative as well. If you asked me if I wanted speed and I wanted creativity and I wanted a clinical forward line, I would go with Eze, Gyokerez, and Saka. I know Rodrigo is creative, but I think he's more of a goal-scoring winger than a creative one. So I would go with Saka with Eze because I know Eze is creative and so is Saka. And they're creating for a guy in Victor Gyokerez that has got the ability, God willing, to bury 30 goals a campaign. He's got that ability. He can score 28, he can score 25, he can score 23, he can score 30. If Arsenal can get that guy done, if we can get that deal done for that guy, it would be a different case scenario. And then transitions. Now, when it comes to transitions, I think it's all about speed, but also it's about the willingness to run, right? So Arsenal are one of the worst teams when it comes to transitions. Transitions are you're being attacked and then you pick up the ball, you win the ball back. How quickly do you shift from defensive mode to attacking mode? Do you actually play the ball back and be safe and then play it around? Or do you actually quickly turn into attacking mode and then you attack the space in behind? Now, Arsenal need to do this for one or two reasons. One, there's so many teams in the Premier League that are going to allow you space in behind if you're willing to exploit it. Not only in the Premier League, but also in Europe as well. PSG, Madrid, and a couple of others. If you can exploit that space in behind, if you can hurt them and by targeting that space in behind, you're going to score a lot of goals. And for me, the team that can do that is Rodrigo, Gyokerez, and Saka, or Madueke, Gyokerez, and Saka. Those two. I think Eze can do it as well. So Eze, Gyokerez, and Saka. Arsenal just need to have better transitions, and I think we are going to have much better transitions come next season. But what about tight spaces? I hear you ask, because tight spaces are the trademark of this Arsenal team. And in fact, if you can't play in tight spaces, you're not an Arsenal player under Mikel Arteta. That is what Arsenal have to deal with every single day. We've got to deal with tight spaces. We've got to deal with games where the other team is parking the bus. They're just willing to sit there and defend. So, which forward line would actually help Arsenal navigate tight spaces? That is easy. It's Rodrigo or Eze, Gyokerez, and Saka. It's as simple as that. Rodrigo has got the ability to shift bodies, but Eze is so comfortable, very comfortable in tight spaces. He's a midfielder, naturally, so you understand, right? And with, of course, the likes of Rice and Odegaard peeling and arriving at the penalty area, it would be massive if we had a player like Eze or Rodrigo. Arsenal would be different. So the reasons why teams have been I've been finding it easy to defend against us is Arsenal will be locked into a tight space and we have no idea how we got there and we don't have no idea how to get out. But if you have Eze and you have Rodrigo simply shifts bodies out of the way. 1 out of the way, 2 out of the way, 3 out of the way. When it comes to Eze, it's different. He's got those passes to find a player like Gyokerez or Saka, and even if it's not that, he's got the ability to just take a shot. He's got the ability to just maneuver through players and tight spaces and defenders. And lastly, individual brilliance. When it comes to individual brilliance, I think that one is confusing. Rodrigo, Gyokerez, and Saka would be a very good option, but I think Madueke or Martinelli would also be very good options. The reason why I think it's a complicated one. Gyokerez could come to the Premier League and it doesn't work out, and it works out. The same applies to Rodrigo. We look at Rodrigo as this guy that comes into the Premier League and turns our world around, right? But in terms of individual brilliance, we need players that can win games on their own. And I think this guy can. I think if you're an Arsenal fan, you must have realized that this Arsenal team is too dependent, and we have very rare, if not any, individual moments. And that is actually not good, to be honest, right? But I think a player like Rodrigo could actually give us those individual moments, and we could be cooking. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comment box below.